Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Good morning, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, presenting the Legacy Trend show on corruption in Kenya. Thank you very much. Punchline Africa Television is the only television in Africa online talking about things that matter to Africa. We look at our economic, social, and the political infrastructures that we have on the continent, how far they have come, how far we have gone, when shall we reach? Shall we ever reach? We tried to open the world. No, I don't know. We warned everybody here. The professor refused, Miriam refused, I refused. And our new guest, our new correspondent from Kisumu, he might, if he was given time to say what he wanted, whether to open the country or not. People have gone to the village. They have caused the chaos in the village. Mr. President, this just don't wait for even the 21 days. Bring back the thing. Yeah? The behavior is going to be, look at the park, look at the taxi park, bus park. It's bad news. But this morning, the topic is not that. We shall only get a brief from Miriam on the figures, how many people have been tested. The number goes, we have, by the way, out of 45 million people, 38 million who are supposed to be tested, we have only tested 250,000. Therefore, any student, anybody who has done what we call a project management, when you reach a stage when the project is not moving, you have to change strategy.
Oh, yes, that's nice.
Yes, and I've said here, I told Ikagwe that time has come to review the strategy. Are we going in the right direction or we are going wrongly? Why can't we now make Uduma style of number that there will be holiday and everybody stays at home? Let people reach people. Yes. Let health workers go to house to check.
That's still my recommendation.
Wacha kila mtu apande line, watoe hii makamasi na nini, yote, wake up. Yes, test them. Let's be tested, all of us. Let the government come out. Otherwise, this, you know, with this, gentlemen, lady and the gentlemen, we have a disaster. And don't say Matanga did not shout. I shouted. This is a disaster. Let the government change the strategy. Either we are all, the governor, what governor? Governor what? What governor? Apart from Mutua, the rest of them are not ready with this place. They are not ready. A few of them, Wale is ready, Mutua is ready. But people are now going into the villages to spread. If you can see the traffic accidents that were not occurring, do you not see that we did not have accidents at all? Yesterday, Muranga Road, there were 7 accidents on Muranga Nyeri Road. 7 with fatalities. Because now, this thing, the corona had stopped people who rush madness. If your father has called you, why are you driving at 200 miles per hour? Is the father going away? Or is your chicken going away? They have cooked the chicken, it is in the pot. Wait, you drive slowly. In fact, some of them, when they have carried their partners, they want to show that they have just bought a new car, but you might not arrive. And wake up music and another could dance, the steering, it goes a different way. Let's behave. Thank you very much. First of all, the topic today is the state of corruption in Kenya. How far have we gone in the fight against corruption? What are the obstacles, challenges? Does Kenya have a criminal justice system good enough to fight corruption? Maybe the headline that we see here might be caused by the confusion in the criminal justice system, or people not knowing where the demarcations are. So for us who studied constitutional law, we are going to straighten it here now. We want to say who should be where and do what and how. If people are not able to see what they are supposed to do, we don't want to lose that synergy. We are not losing the war on corruption because of the quarrels of a few individuals, or two people are not agreeing of ego, or one group says, I am not the one, this one says I'm the one. No, we want to fight the war. How many people can we take to court and sentence Waluke style? Waluke style. We're interested in Waluke style. Usiambie sisi mambo gine, tunataka Waluke. Waluke will go in history for having been hammered 69 years. It's very historical. So we want a reference, a precedent set. So the legacy trend, to keep the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Last week, we did all the big four. But what happens in the big four is this one that we are doing. The projects that the president was initiating, how far have they been done? Medium will give us the breakdown. The people we have arrested and taken to us to court, where are they? Where is the money that we have recovered? Yeah, panel. Those are the things coming. Where is it? Don't just appear on the press papers. I expect that director of recovery, what is her name, Muthoni? Tell us how much you have recovered. How much property have you seized from people? You have got notice to seize people's property. How much have you got? We don't want the story. We don't want Attorney General war. We are not interested in Attorney General. We want to hear the practical thing. You are now calling, DCI is calling Mr. Rotich. But what about the first case before you call him on the second one? Where has the first one gone, Miriam? These are the things you have to ask us, and let's talk about them. Back to the studio. Thank you very much in Nairobi. I'm miles and miles away from Nairobi. Thank you very much. God bless you from the Legacy Trend Center. Good morning.
Thank you, Doctor, for that introduction. Thank you so much, and a very good morning. Good evening, good afternoon to all our viewers, wherever you're watching us from today, the 13th of July, 2020. Of course, this is the Legacy Trend, where we get to look at and keep tabs on what President Uhuru Kenyatta has been doing. He's really very keen on cementing his legacy, and corruption is one of the biggest impediments that might curtail his realization of his dream and the legacy he wants to leave in Kenya. So for us to have this conversation, we are joined by Professor Onyari. Professor, good morning.
Good morning to you, Miriam and Dr. Masanga and Onyango.
Thank you so much. And also on the other side, from Kisumu, we are joined by Samson Alomba Onyango there. He is a graduate from Maseno University. Samson, good morning.
Good morning, Miriam. Good morning, Daktari. Good morning, Prof.
All right, and so before I bring in the numbers, we start with COVID-19. First of all, Doctor, this morning, sad news. Zinzi Mandela, the daughter of South Africa's anti-apartheid icon Nelson Mandela and Winnie Madikizela Mandela, has passed away. A public broadcaster, SABC, has reported she passed away in Johannesburg on Monday morning, aged 59. That is today morning. The death has been confirmed by a family source, and she was the South African ambassador to Denmark. So our condolences there to the family and friends and the people of South Africa, and of course the family of the late Nelson Mandela there, the daughter of Nelson Mandela. Zinzi Mandela has passed away this morning there. All right, so the statistics as they stand this morning, Kenya confirmed cases is 10,105. The death toll is 185, and recovery so far stands at 2,881. Uganda, 1,025 cases, recovery is 972. And I don't want to read so much of these cases, but South Africa, which is the leading country in Africa this morning, 276,000 cases, 242. The death toll is 4,079. Recoveries is 134,874. And let's just look at the total cases of Africa this morning, as even in Rwanda there the cases have gone up at 1,337. So the total number of cases in Africa as per this morning is 594,955, and the number of deaths that has been reported in the continent is 13,246. Recoveries stands at 295,242. Our panelist, a doctor there, we see the figures in Kenya have gone up, and right now we have surpassed the 10,000 mark there. By the end of September, we were told September will be the peak. Where do we project this country in terms of the rising numbers in COVID-19, and of course after the lifting of cessation of movement?
First of all, the earlier, as I've said in my opening remarks, the earlier the government changes the strategy, the better. We have not learned. Very few people have learned. I can see my brother there in Kisumu. He has got his mask ready, but other people have not. If you look at this, the Nation newspaper awaiting to explode. Mm-hmm. Let's combine it as we talk about this. Waiting to explode. Production team can bring it on the surface. People have no look out of this. Only one person has a mask and it is dropped in the neck. It is being used as a necktie. Two, actually, you can't see many. So people have not changed. The behavior has not changed. Miriam, we are in a catch-22, heading nowhere, opening to go where, nowhere to go. We said it here, you open to go where? To go and spread it in Malaba, to go and eat chicken in Malaba, then come with it, bring it back. You know, you go and hold rallies. Politicians are holding rallies publicly. The Western region politicians are holding rallies as if the politics is running away. It is all here.
Because the ban is still there on public rallies. Why have they been doing this? The last, I think, 1 month, the Western politicians there have been very busy holding these rallies. Are they waiting for the government to go for them and then they'll start saying they're being targeted? Or why are they being so careless?
They are being careless because we have always been careless. Anyway, my Luya people are always careless, including not me. I'm not careless. I'm very strict, even including the way I look at people. I'm very strict. If you can see, I'm very observant. You might be looking at me thinking I'm looking at you, yet I'm observing what you are going to do. Very strict, alert, waiting. In case you take an action, I'm ready, because I'm a soldier, well trained. I'm not lazy. How do you go and hold a conference when people are dying? No masks. People came. People were talking, oh, Mudavadi. I thought, Mudavadi, what? What Mudavadi? What Mudavadi? Mudavadi has been criticizing Ruto, that Ruto is very corrupt. Now here he's saying he's ready, willing to work with him up to heaven. So these are the type of leaders we have. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are Miriam. Yeah. And Miriam, let me not miss this point. Let the president hear me. There are people in the civil service, Mzee, they are making money to go understand in politics. So the earlier you chuck them out, the better, Mzee. Yes, they are siphoning this money. They are preparing for political posts. Toa kabisa, toa in this reshuffle. Toa watu. Toa watu. If you do the legacy, I'm speaking from the legacy point of view. Watoke have very little. There is nothing much to be done in these ministries. You don't need these ministries. You can even control all the ministries yourself. Do you know that the president can do that? With PS working, you get the reports from PS by computer in your house, in your state house, and then you get hitmen, a unit that will go out to find what projects have been done, what has not been done, arrest those guys on spot. The president can manage. This is an economic unit, an economic cabinet. It is not time for reparation cabinet. It is time for an economic austerity measure of a legacy. You are not looking for reparation, awarding. We are not awarding loyalties. We are awarding legacy. Are we uniting or not? So don't limit yourself. If this ministry is not working, if there are thieves in this ministry of health who are lying to us, whom Mr. Mutahi Kagwe refers to, that up here, why doesn't he name them? Why does Mutahi Kagwe fail to name the thieves who are in the Ministry of Health, so that Miriam and myself and the rest of you here, we blow them out on this TV now? Mm-hmm. He said, PS, you are fifth. CS, you are fifth.
Yes.
Undersecretary, you are fifth. Mm-hmm. Procurement man, you are fifth. Talker.
Miriam, I want to...
Yes, and Professor Nyari, before you just come in, because I want us to finish up with the COVID-19 before you get to corruption.
Yeah, that's what I want to say.
That is our. I
have my comment there.
So today, I was just speaking to somebody who had traveled to the village over the weekend to bury their brother. So when they came back, I asked them, so how was the situation? Are people observing social distancing? They're saying there's nothing like social distancing over there. There's nothing like 15 people only. It was a whole village who came for this burial. Nobody's wearing masks. So I'm thinking the chiefs are failing, the village elders are failing, because if now that is the village, the countryside, so you can imagine, and the numbers, and the when President Uhuru Kenyatta lifted the cessation of movement. So I think, what are we expecting, as the Daily Nation there has said, waiting to explode? If this is the situation down there, people are not observing these measures, then the Ministry of Health, all these gains it has been making at the government of Kenya will all be futile. What do you think?
Yeah. On COVID-19, you know my stance. And I did say that you don't open. The president decided, out of the advice which was given by experts, and I wonder what kind of experts were they, open. Don't leave Kenyans on their own. I agree with Dr. Masanga that if it is not working, what do? You fix. We have to change. My recommendation from my side before we wait for that to explode is lock this country within 21 days. Nobody moves from East County to other county. Let us have testing and we'll be able to wipe these things once and for all. What we are having, people are moving from the city to the rural area, and even when they find themselves that they have traveled with the victim, they disappear, they don't even come forward. So we have to change the strategy like yesterday. Let us not leave the people of Kenya on their own. When this pandemic will wipe people, the blame will be squarely on the doors of the president. So don't wait for those 21 days. Mr. President, take actions. This corona thing is serious, and the Kenyans are taking it serious. It is not life as normal. We will not go back to normal when COVID-19 kills. Mm-hmm. So I agree with Dr. Masanga that we need to revise our strategy, and they must be able to listen to what we say or what other people are saying. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And Samson, okay. So
Miriam,
we've heard what Professor Onyari has said there, and President Uhuru Kenyatta, of course, when lifting this cessation of movement and other measures, I said he's giving us about 21 days, observing the mannerisms of Kenyans and how, if at all, they're able to behave in the manner in which they have been advised to do so. If not, then the country shall go back to some of these strict measures. Will it be a bit too late for that? Samson?
Yes, Miriam, let me also add my voice into this particular session. And to begin with, I would love to say that I really concur with Daktari. We really need to have some kind of discipline in the way we handle this particular menace. You realize that maybe in some part of Western Kenya, there are so many political bickering, there are rallies, and the government is saying the people should be keeping safe distancing, but you still find people holding rallies. To me, what I can say, there has not been that kind of discipline. Sanctions have to be there. This kind of politicians need to be arrested, because those rallies are activities in criminality. Those particular guys need to be arrested. Another thing, the government needs to embrace what we call sensitization. Most of our citizens have not had that particular scenario where they can embrace what we call behavior change. Everybody's behaving normally. Yeah, everybody's behaving normally, and the Ministry of Health is warning us that if we treat this particular menace normally, it will treat us abnormally. So generally, we need to have some sanctions. We need to have general sensitization so that we have a general behavior change. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Samson. So, Doctor,
we have Mombasa on the line, Miriam. Mombasa, you have been watching, listening to us. What's your comment? You are the one who advocated for the opening up. Now we see the numbers surging. What is your comment on this?
Well, good morning, Daktari, Miriam, the studio, and I advocated for the opening of the lockdown, and there's this rise right now. The numbers are rising. All I can say is the president did well to open, and I'm glad he did so. But since the numbers are increasing, I would just urge the Kenyans to still take precautions. I would urge them to do that. But all I know is the president will always make decisions for our own good. So as much as the numbers are rising, I am urging all the Kenyans to take precautions. That's not a good sign. They should just take precautions. Wash their hands, the distance, for their own good.
Are we going to sing this wash hand? their leaders going for rallies. Why are we not arresting these leaders? I agree with the gentleman from Kisumu that some leaders are making political statements. Some are calling people in Karen to give handouts. What is going on here? What's going on? Why don't we arrest all these people? Are we creating a problem? We are creating a problem for ourselves. So how long will leaders go and address political rallies when the people they are addressing don't have masks?
All I can say is we should not politicize everything, because this is a matter of life and death. Why do you have to bring in politics in issues where we should find ways of helping every Kenyan out there, other than politicizing everything? So they should set aside, they should give us what we have right now. It's an emergency issue. Of course, they have to wash hands, we have to, because we cannot ignore the fact that people have been washing hands and the numbers are rising. No, but you have to take precautions. And as much as we can, that is what we can do right now. Wash hands and follow precautions, but we shouldn't politicize everything. This is not a matter of bringing politics in. So people are very wrong, and we should focus on this issue. This is a pandemic. What can we do to improve the situation?
Okay, thank you very much. Miriam, you have had the Mombasa correspondent. Yes. You have had the Kisumu correspondent. Back to you in the studio.
Yes, and of course, that is the situation of coronavirus in the country. And I think it is the same case in a lot of African countries that we've seen the cases continue to surge. So right now, Doctor, I think we should just turn into the topic of today, and that is the state of corruption in Kenya. That is President Uhuru Kenyatta's resolve to fight corruption is not in doubt. In March 2015, he launched a robust anti-corruption war. And last year, the president declared that he wanted the renewed fight against graft to be his legacy. In 2018, survey ranked Kenya 143 out of 183 in the World Corruption Index, a slight improvement from its 2017 ranking, which we ranked at 145 out of 180 countries. Now, experts estimate that the country loses 1/3 of its national budget, approximately 1 trillion shillings, to corruption. A recent study of media reporting of cases of embezzlement of public funds between 2009 and 2019 shows that a total of 48.2 billion Kenya shillings is either missing, misappropriated, or unaccounted for in the first 2 months of 2019, including 21 billion Kenya shillings that sank into the Arol and Kimorel Phantom Dam projects in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Now, local corruption cartels are also starting to operate on a global scale and to close ranks with international criminal network. Doctor, before you even get into it, right now as we speak, Kenya ranked at about 143 out of 183 countries in the world, according to the corruption index there. I think that is Transparency International. They usually do those rankings. I mean, this is not something that we should be proud of, Professor Onyari.
Be proud that you are being ranked among the most corrupt countries in the world. This is terrible. And this issue of corruption, we have talked for far too long. And what we need to see is action, unless it is Afro cinema. You can't talk about 48 billions, 21 billion sinking, and the people are walking scot-free. The state of corruption in this country is endemic and is pathetic. Mm-hmm. Time for just talking should end. Mm-hmm. We want action. We want more of the Waruke in. We talked about amending the corruption laws, removing pay from people who have committed economic crimes. Why should we be talking? It should be something which we say that we are fighting corruption. The coming week, the parliament is coming. People have given their views. Let us have that law in place, and the people to be called to account. Chapter 6 of the Kenyan Constitution is very clear when it comes to integrity and leadership. You are being mentioned day in, day out, and you are insisting to be in office. Just go to the internet, Google, who are the most corrupt people in Kenya? You will see the name which will come.
Or who are the most talked about?
Yes. The deputy president, the name which comes there is the deputy president. And is in the system. To be in office, having meetings, my friend, these two ones should stop.
Right.
And the president, if you want to leave a legacy, in BBI, when you shook hands with the prime minister, you agreed to fight corruption. Let us have the timelines. 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. Someone is saying that you have not committed a crime, or you are in committee, and we recover our money. As Dr. Masanga was trying to say, we need to be briefed from time to time that this month we have recovered this money, we have not recovered. We don't wait until you have a press conference, you are being asked a question.
Yes.
So the state of corruption in this country is pathetic. And the president, we ought to support you. Make use of the handshake. Let anybody who has been mentioned, or even if you have been perceived to be corrupt, where people don't say that, Miriam, you are corrupt. Where people say that, Professor, I'm corrupt. Dr. Masanga, you are corrupt. Even if you are perceived to be corrupt, step aside, clear your name, then you come back to your job. Right. That's my recommendation. Otherwise,
thank you so
we
much.
Cannot be told these figures, and then we get happy with them.
All right, thank you so much. And one of our viewers is wondering the corruption index for South Sudan. South Sudan is the second most corrupt country in the world after Somalia. Somalia is the most corrupt country in the world. Emmanuel, thank you so much for watching. So Samson, as a young person, when you sit down and you're a graduate, I don't know if you've been able to get a job or not, but you know a lot of money that even could be used to hire a lot of very young, skilled people into the, the marketplace is not there because corruption is taking away all these gains that we were supposed to be enjoying as Kenyans. So when you hear all these figures getting lost and how Kenya is ranking in terms of corruption before we narrow down to what EACC is doing and what President Uhuru Kenyatta has been able to do so far. As a young Kenyan, what comes to mind?
Miriam, to me, I think it's time we treated corruption as a national disaster. Let us treat corruption like we've dealt with cancer. We've dealt with, we are dealing now with COVID. Let's declare corruption a national disaster so that we channel our resources, all our synergies towards toward the fight against corruption. Another thing I would love to say, let us have a complete overhaul of the judicial system. Judiciary has been the conduit pipe through which corrupt money sails through. We realize somebody has stolen billions of shillings, is taken to court. The judiciary acts in abation of the same. They get protected. They get bonds, less bonds, and they run away with it. So really, to take advantage of the handshake scenario, deal with the judiciary, bring every other person to book, just like they are now dealing with Walu. Let us have more of Walu scenarios as possible. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Samson. There is saying that corruption now should be declared a national disaster. Have we reached there yet?
Yes, we passed. I agree.
So it is
I agree with Professor.
Yes, as Professor
and Aroba. When you talk about why I am number 143 out of 183, whom are you telling? You are telling us, Kenya, we should not even, in fact, we should cry tears. We should cry tears. When we hear such a report coming, we should even close our eyes. We are seeking international jobs. We are capturing international jobs. And then when we come back home in the backyard, we are number 143 out of 183. Walai ya Mungu, that must stop. That must stop. And on this note, I want to say the following. before the Mombasa correspondent to answer the Miriam's question, I want to remind the Kenyans that the anti-corruption war is on, and anyone found culpable would carry his or her own cross. In the last 740 days left to raise, we must raise awareness among Kenyans and call them to action to play a role in convincing with against those conniving with political leaders and masquerading as their saviors, taking our money, then turning it into handouts. Kenyans are more excited to go for handouts, but they don't ask, how did you get this handout? I would like to tell Mombasa, Karen, Oromba, Kisumu, Professor in Nairobi, and Miriam, that never called me for a free party. A party for free. Miriam never tried to go there. Please, if someone calls you that they think it's a free function, carry your own seat, carry your own beer, carry your own wine, carry your own food. All these free things are very dangerous. Either they can poke your eye because everybody goes for it. But if you call me for a dignified party, where you say payment is 5,000 entry, then you can eat food. Aki Mungu, I will be the first one on the door. If my family, we pay 5,000.
Doctor, can I just address Samson, please? If you could reduce the volume of your, I don't know, it's your phone or because it is distracting, please. And if you can put all our phones on silent.
The volume, Samson, the volume of your phone.
If our phones can be on silent, that would be nice. All right. Thank you.
Just watch. Don't.
Thank you. Sorry, Doctor. So, continue. Yes.
I pay my 5,000 and enter with my family and sit properly. Don't call me for free things. But it looks like Kenyans are interested in free handouts. Everybody is lining up. In fact, there are people fighting who should be on the track going to get these free things in Karen. Then come back and shout and be on Facebook, say, I got a motorcycle. Did you ask where the motorcycle came from? Have you asked where the motorcycle came from? Where did it come from? Why is it that the government is not giving it and an individual is doing it? There's a Warren, one of the world millionaires. He gave last week, he gave 29 billion to charity dollars, making it over almost 300 billion dollars. He has given out for free. But if you trace the record of Warren, you know him, Professor. He's one of the richest guys. You will see how he made his money.
Warren.
He will not tell you, Moi gave me the first car. And then the other one said, Moi gave me the first chicken. Then he go here, I collected 2 chicken, then it became 7 eggs. In Africa, we have people who cannot explain to us how they got these eggs. But Warren cannot tell you a lie. He says his background is there. So when such a man is giving you money, you have no problem. But when you have money coming from George Soros, you have a problem. Because George Soros' money has warrant of arrest in Russia. He called the Russian government and then called them communists. They have a warrant for him. So, Miriam, in short, people should not think the government is not playing a role. I want to remind the youth, especially, not to be cheated by the suspect of freebies. Freebies, you know it, Mr. University leader from Maseno. You know very well what freebies is.
Freebies.
Ya bure. Hiyo kitu inakuja bure. Mnapigana naye. And then they single out student leaders, the ones who will be used to distribute this food. Nowhere. You should query where are you getting this free money. And that the public should offer unwavering support to the president and to the government, to the institutions in the 740 days of this legacy. Now, on the basis of the foregoing, I want to tell Kenyans that things must change. And we shall take the Waruke case and then the case of the ongoing Mathira MP, which Miriam will bring to us a bit. Tell us what happened to Waruke. Is it phasing out? 14 days about to be complete this week. Is he escaping? Is he going to be released? What is going on? How much money has he collected? These are some of the things. Instead of having people, as the man in Kisumu said, we don't want to lose the synergy. Our synergy should not be lost. Our synergy is to fight corruption. And that corruption must be fought by all of us, giving all. Me, I have a very radical thing which Miriam does not want to hear about. The radical thing is bullet copper, which is from Kenya does not have copper. Uganda has copper. Uganda manufactures bullets. But Kenya also manufactures bullets somewhere in Nakuru, I'm told, in one of the places. You are manufacturing bullets also. There's an industry. But for us in Uganda, we have copper and we have manufactured bullets. So me, one of the things that are radical things that I would suggest, I wish we did not adopt democracy and eat democracy. Do we eat democracy? How many of you are eating democracy this morning? Show me one person who came to this show, including you in Mombasa. Did you eat democracy? Did you, Miriam, all of us did not eat democracy?
No, democracy has created an atmosphere where I can come to work peacefully, so democracy is important.
So we created an atmosphere.
It has created stability and an atmosphere, yes.
Then why are we complaining? Why are we number 143? Why? If there's an atmosphere.
I think corruption and democracy are different.
Democracy no.
If we put them together, we'll miss
Dr.
the point.
Masanga, if
you can have another argument.
Not good, try war. Try anarchy.
Yes, you can have anarchy and have no corruption. Who steals the money in Rwanda? Who steals the money in Rwanda? Tell me. Muniambie. Nani anaiba pesa Rwanda? Nani? Yeah, you are Kenyans. Don't tell me democracy. And this is different. Who steals the money in Rwanda? Where in Rwanda? We even one shilling. Utakuwa jirani. So is there no democracy in Rwanda? There is. There is democracy. Who tells you democracy has to be when you go like a Boniface Mangi and cut pigs and then smear yourself with blood and go to parliament? That's democracy. Surely. Can you steal a shilling in Rwanda? Can you steal money in Ethiopia? Can you steal money in Ethiopia? Can you steal money in Britain? Does Britain eat democracy? Does Britain eat democracy? Let's discuss it now.
Britain's democracy is very vibrant, so we can't even compare that with what is
so
happening here.
Then what? Then
their democracy is very strong.
Yeah. You are saying it is vibrant, you don't eat it. Now,
no, you are the one who is confused. I'm very clear. Democracy in Britain is very clear, and also corruption. Very strong institutions. Yeah, so we have to have structures in place.
That is why I am saying you don't eat democracy.
Okay.
You eat the food, and if corruption destroys the same democracy, then there is no democracy.
So we need to fight corruption. The corruption is the bigger problem, not democracy.
Exactly.
Not
that
democracy.
That is the statement I'm making. That you cannot.
All right, Doctor.
You cannot You cannot sit in your house,
Yes.
Professor Nyali, and say, we have democracy. Let's now go ahead. And Mr. Ruto goes to siphon everything.
That is not what we are saying, Doctor. So the office, yes.
That's what we are saying, that we need strong institutions and we should fight corruption in totality.
Yes.
And Dr. Masanga, I'm not a fan of democracy, but I don't have another system in mind which can replace democracy.
Option.
We have all systems, but there is none which becomes better than democracy. But I don't support it. But since we don't have anything to replace it with, we cannot talk about anarchy. We can talk about the leadership.
All right.
That's not narrow.
Yes.
Don't narrow, Professor. Don't narrow this debate to a channel of nothingness. This debate, let it be wider.
Okay.
You are not going to say we are democratic when money is being siphoned by one individual. What type of democracy is that?
Yes,
we must change the law. We must change the law. Democracy, what we call democracy, is where a law or swaggle is still walking free. The chicken eater is walking free because you have that democracy that Miriam talks about. If we had a democracy that checks on the chicken gate eaters 6 years ago, we would eat it.
I think the courts and the
Dr.
police
Masanga,
and those
where
are the
is
people
Waruke?
to blame. Yeah, those are the people to let the blame, not democracy.
Professor Nyali, the argument here, and let's leave. Let me keep quiet. The other people to contribute. I want to see you convince me that Mr. Oswago
should be in jail.
Should be in jail.
Have nothing to do with democracy. That is judiciary, DCI, ESCC work. The institutions.
What I'm trying to do is to convince you that the type of democracy we have in Kenya is not giving you food.
Daktari, can I add my voice?
Yes.
Go ahead, Samson.
I beg to add my voice. I agree with the prof that we really need to have democracy. But then the current state of democracy has really failed us. It has really failed us. I think it is time we redefine our democracy. We really need to redefine. We find that somebody has been convicted with obvious crimes of corruption, but then the process of serving justice is very long. There is this statement that you are always you must be
you're innocent until proven guilty.
You are innocent until proven guilty. That statement alone, so many people have capitalized that particular statement, that particular phrase, to go away with the resources.
And
so it's time we find out.
You send the message home. You are right.
It's time, Daktari, we redefined what democracy should mean to us.
Exactly. What time, Mr. Onyali, you want to take your children to school? You have the school is already paid money. The government has sent money to the school. Then you are told, Miriam, that on top of this, bring something. Yet the government institution is very clear. So we should look for a democracy that serves you. That democracy that gives you the right to say, no, my child, let me pick my daughter, I'm going home. And I want to go to the police to find out when the president announced that the education is free. In Kenya here, parents are suffering. Education is announced by the president that it's a free education. When you reach the primary school, this is the democracy you cook. You have now been given democracy. Eat it, you carry your daughter to end shule. Kufika shule, wanakuambia, we want another 60,000 shillings.
You go to that is corruption. You go to the police, and I know several parents who have done that before.
Now,
because
how do you feel?
No, you go
when
to the
you
police.
are being told 60,000 shillings. Is that democracy?
No,
now,
that is corruption. That is not democracy. That is corruption.
You catch that headmaster.
That is bribery. That is corruption. Not democracy.
You catch the headmaster, and he goes to court. Then he says, I need bail. That's democracy. I need bail to go home. The same day, Professor Onyali comes to stand to be a surety to the headmaster because he comes from Nyamira. He takes the headmaster home. Now, the money that was collected in the school, Jamen, he will pull. That is, I am not saying you don't need democracy. You need it. But I am saying, how do you eat democracy where you are now going to be told to pay extra money when the government has already pumped in money? No.
That
type of democracy in Kenya should end.
That is corruption.
Yes, and I think Dr. Matsanga, okay, like if we have a situation where we have democracy and that kind of democracy is not controlled, that is the biggest problem that we have as a country.
So we need checks and balances. Yes. Yes.
I don't know. Now, my question was
this. Yes.
I asked very calmly the question. Maybe let another lady answer me from Mombasa.
Yes.
I asked, hello, Karen from Mombasa. I asked a question to the panel. Do we eat democracy?
Okay, what I will say is, like the previous one, just say democracy is controlled. You're misusing the rights that come with it. But once we control it, we can have it not that smooth, but at least the right way.
So you go back home with your child, he's not going to school, someone has taken the money, then you hear tomorrow, high flyer, he has a Range Rover, he has this, he has that. That is very good democracy. Is that what we want?
No, that's not what we want. But the right steps should be taken. Once, okay, somebody has done that, what should be done to that person to prevent another kind of the same situation? That's what we can do. Because in these other countries, such cases are not taken lightly. Misused funds, okay. They're supposed to be the rest of the school, misused. What happens to those people? And that's why people are scared to even have to be involved in such issues. Because they know that the steps that will be taken. So I think that's what we should have. Like we're having the religious issue, they're doing the right thing. And we should have more to follow. Because we can't have people misusing the democracy we have. Because we want to continue doing this democracy, there are people who are misusing it. I think they should be used as examples, those who are, doing the opposite.
Okay. That's exactly what we leave it there. For me, let's move on to another point.
But let me just have this to say.
Yes.
Dr. Masanga, we don't eat democracy.
Thank you.
Get that question. But
That's
what you are trying to say, that don't take people for granted. When institutions don't work, I have seen this, Dr. Masanga, with my own eyes. People are being arrested, they are taken to a police station, in the evening they are out. What do you think people will do? The following day they get you, they lynch you through mob justice. Some of these leaders, in the name of democracy, they think that the constitution will protect them. I am recommending, and I have said this not one but for the first time, that Kenyans must rise up and take charge. If it is whoever was stolen from them, lynch him.
Oh Lord, no. Take them to the police station.
Yeah, because
we cannot encourage that. We have laws, and we are in a law-abiding country. We cannot encourage that.
Miriam, please.
Yes.
If we are fighting this, if we are fighting corruption,
Doctor, they'll take this advice literally.
No, time has come for people. I think we didn't bring this topic here of corruption to please people.
Yes.
I'm please anybody.
Yes.
I'm sorry. On this show and this television, I'm not here. I'm helping the president government. I am helping to show how we can bring corruption to the fore. I'm not here to please anybody. If you are corrupt, if you are caught, we are looking for ways. Why should Rotich, Miriam, let me ask one question. Why should Rotich, Henry Rotich, still wear a coat and walk in Runda with his Mercedes and a big Range Rover and escort? What for? When he has eaten the money.
And he's still earning some
and
salary.
The landslide came in his own area. God came and cleansed the whole area when we lost 21 billion shillings. Isn't it time for Kenya to change the law? Isn't it Kenya? Are we going to sing like this? That we are number 143?
But
forget about my own Uganda is even worse.
Yeah, forget Uganda. But doctor, that is why President Uhuru Kenyatta.
143 out of 183, surely, Miriam.
It is a shame.
You tell your child, even your son.
I can't even tell him that.
Hello.
It is a shame.
We are 143 out of 183.
It is a shame, absolutely. And that's why, remember, the other week we were discussing about that bill that is supposed to be introduced, the anti-corruption bill there. I think it contains that, and we talked about it, because according to the laws we have right now, you cannot step down until you're taken to court, but until you've been found guilty. But the law they're trying to revise and say, once you've been mentioned, then you cease to serve in that position. So I think that will go a long way in addressing that issue, doctor, that you're raising. So you're right.
Okay. Yes, that is the democracy I want to eat.
Yes, and Miriam, I think that
isn't that the democracy I want to eat? That's the one where once you are mentioned, unatoka,
yes.
The bingo
and
here.
Yes, and Dr. Matsanga. Yes, and Dr. Matsanga, the other time you mentioned about how the Asian tigers, that is Singapore, Malaysia, China, were able to overtake us, and you find that in their foundation as independent countries, whatever key thing that they gave priority was the fight against corruption, and African countries, especially Kenya, need to emulate that, and we should have a quick fire in matters fighting corruption. We don't have to get bogged into these corruption cases that drag for years and years until some of the culprits who are implicated in corruption die before the cases are ruled and justice is served. So what we need is a quick fire. If you get implicated into corruption, in a corruption scandal, you step aside and the case begins immediately and judgment be given within a specified shorter period of time. That will be the most efficient way.
All right, thank you so much. And the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, the ODPP, is seeking to reclaim about 224 billion Kenya shillings through successful convictions of cases currently pending in court. So they're saying this money could be recovered, the 224 billion Kenya shillings that have been lost. Can we bank on this as a country? Or, of course, Samson there mentioned that judiciary has been, seen to be the weak link when it comes to the fight against corruption. But we hope that after successful prosecutions from the court, then Kenya can recover this money through the Office of the Public Prosecutions. Can we bank on having this money back to the public?
And who is going to account for it?
Yeah, and then
can I add my piece?
Yes. Go ahead.
You bring it back and they will take it.
Go ahead,
yes.
Samson. Yeah.
Yes, I want to, Miriam, I want to agree with the gentleman, but to me, all measures that we've been talking about are short-term measures. They are meant to arrest the current situation, the current crisis that we have. But then at the end of the day, the buck also stops with us as citizens. We need to inculcate a culture at individual level, at the family level. Corruption begins right from our house. When you send a child to the maid, then you bribe him or give money for. We are already anticipating a crisis. We are cooking an environment for corruption. So the back equally talks us as citizens. What is our role? All these things we have been doing, all the measures we've been talking about are meant to curb the crisis that we currently have. But then we all need to have an environment that enables integrity to thrive as in your level.
All right, thank you. So, Professor, the Office of the Deputy of the Public Prosecution seeking to recover 224 billion Kenya shillings from these corruption cases that are right now pending in the Kenyan courts. Can we bank on having this money back to our hospitals and schools? Because that is where they meant it, and the dams.
They are saying they recover the money. They will recover the money. Fine. It's a good thing to do. But have we put institutions and system in place to go and even protect that money we are going to recover? You have had during the COVID pandemic, people decided to consume 4 million on tea. So what I want to do, and I agree with Dr. Matsanga, 110%, that we need to change the strategy. And even Onyango has said that the Kenyans have to change, you have to do this one. My brother, we have what we call petty corruption, which we can deal with the rest of the need. But we are talking about grand corruption, which someone goes with Kemorere Dam, takes 21 billion. What I want to do is I want Kenyans to be annoyed. We don't want to hear this kind of stories. Here, when these people steal money, do you see the kind of the pattern of lawyers who appear in court?
Yes. Now you are talking.
And they keep on causing adjournment. That's why with Daniel is coming out. We are saying that this case, like a presidential petition, 14 days period, you cannot subtract, you cannot add. We are saying a corruption case, 6 months. And the 7th month, you should be going home or you should be going to committee. Yeah. So what we want to do, the citizen must get in charge. Didn't you see even this time for corruption, corona pandemic, a policeman being given 200 shillings, 50 shillings, and someone takes a disease to go and take and kill people? And imagine Kenyans are not getting annoyed and they are watching that. So I agree with you, Nyango, that we should get in charge, we should get annoyed, and we should be able to take action. Otherwise, the president, you have heard himself say, Jameni, what do you want me to do?
Well, he's doing.
He does not convict people.
That was years back. Now I think he changed too.
It is the judicial. And let me tell you this.
Yes.
When you come to talk about the grand corruption, you need political will. I don't want to swear, but I want to tell you, if we cannot make use of the handshake, we have lost war on corruption. We have lost war on corruption.
Okay.
With the handshake, even the deputy president, even the Boreans, he will go to jail. He will be charged. Well, that is the beauty of the handshake.
That's the beauty of the handshake. And the new amendment bill requires that only the president is the one that is immune as long as he's in office. But after he leaves, then he can be prosecuted. But the vice president can be prosecuted even when he's in office. So that is what the new, amendment bill 2020 on the anti-corruption bill proposes.
Okay, Mombasa, you have listened to our heated argument. We want your analysis. What Samson has said, Alomba has said, the corruption starts from our houses. Yes. You send a child, he comes back and says the money got lost when he has hidden it in the trouser. Oh. You send, they ask, yes, at school, he said, Mom, the headmaster said he needs 20 shillings for a trip, which is not existing. And you pat the child on the back. Professors brought a very good thing. How many professionals do we see in the court? How many? When we charged Mwilu, the DPP openly brought Deputy Justice Mwilu, a thief who used paperwork of the court to obtain loans. Does that, boss, you're a professor of the university, you go and collect letterheads of the university and use it to collect loans?
Never.
Did you go and use letterhead of Bachelor in Africa TV to obtain a loan without telling the owners? You are a thief. You have done fraud. You saw 40 lawyers. You have brought a very good point of professionals. Yesterday, I told Miriam that there is a former minister, Nyaga. He said the biggest corrupt people in this country are professionals.
Yeah.
Beginning with lawyers. Then he said doctors. He came with doctors. They are a doctor gives you, you people are talking about corruption. What about the COVID is killing us? You go to the doctor, to the hospital. The doctor writes a note, even directs you where the chemist is. Have you ever thought about that? Why is the medicine not in the hospital, which has more money than the chemist? Muniambie leo, we are here. These are questions that worry everybody. Every time we go to our doctors, they write a note and direct you, even the chemist you should go. And huko chini, from Koinange Street, there is a chemist open. Why is the medicine not in Jomo Kenyatta hospital? Why is the medicine not there? Yet the government has paid, the chemist has brought this medicine and sold to the government. That's corruption. These are professionals. These are the people handling us. That's why you see fraud being committed, Miriam, by people giving you a fraudulent certificate. Yes. Because you have reached a point of no return. Your child is going to die tomorrow. You want to fly out. You have to go and do. I agree with you to have to do something to get this certificate. Corruption is not only taking money. Corruption is denying a service. Denying a service. Those days there was yet immigration. Most of you who have traveled, those days before, immigration these days is fantastic. You put your passport, they stamp it, you go home. Before Major General Kalhang, what is his name?
Kalangwa.
Kalangwa Gordon.
Kiharangwa. Mr. Kiharangwa changed the whole immigration system. Haki ya Mungu. Wanakuona namna hivi, passport wana stamp, upesi unaenda. But those days in the 80s, 90s, for us who used to travel in that airport, unakuja na $50 is inside. Uko chini, ndio wakupatia miezi 6.
Oh, wow.
Corruption now in immigration is no more. Immigration is one of the best departments.
It's still there, but minimum. Yes, it's still there, but minimum.
Men of that nature. Miriam,
absolutely.
There you are. Those are some of them.
Yes. Very
From Mombasa, what is your say?
Well, this is what I would say. We have a very weak system. We should work on having this strong judicial system. Those who are involved in corruption are professionals. Now, the judicial system, these are people who go to school, these are lawyers. So we should work on having a very strong judicial system. If we are not careful in Kenya, then even our security is at stake. Why? Because how do even terrorists get to our country? We should see them as
Thank you very much. Back to you, Miriam.
Yes.
Miriam, before you move to another stage, we want to look at the MP of Madeira. And I will read the, don't worry, I have the notes here.
Okay.
I'm going to send them to you now. This is a man who went on accumulating. Every year, he was accumulating 1 billion.
Oh, wow. What kind of job?
Yes. Yeah. Intact. For you, you are looking for 50 shillings to climb to Matatu, to reach Marava or Webuye. But there's someone hammering 1 billion, banked, safe, and some in the house. You see, but before we go there, there is something that I want to bring to the panel. And this is true. In 1970-71, Miriam, I told you, yeah, I will bring it today.
Yes. Oh, you have a good memory. I'd forgotten.
Yes. Dr. Apollo Milton Obote found General Idi Amin and other officers, ministers of defense, Oriema and Onama, and so many other ministers involved in the smuggling of diamonds, gold, ivory from Congo. The intelligence officers, DCI, found these exhibits with the major generals, houses, and money, real gold. They went to Dr. Milton Obote. It's a true story. They told Obote, your generals and army officers and ministers are involved in this. They stole Mobutu. Mobutu wanted his gold. He wanted to fight it. He wanted to come with troops to kill everybody in Kampala. This guy say we don't have the gold. Obote was told the gold is in a house. House here, house there. Some money is here. Some diamonds have been sold already by some English company. Obote said, no, don't worry. We are very good friends with Idi Amin. Don't worry. We are very good friends with the, you can put it to the Kenyan context. And you can find the conclusion later. But what happened here? Idi Amin and the minister Onama and others, they plotted against Obote. They had the money, they paid some army officers, and let me tell you, Miriam, frankly, guess what happened? They overthrew Obote January 1971. It took only 6 months from June 1970. Amin went and murdered the best officers of Obote from Lango and Acholi. He declared Obote was left naked. He was only waiting for Obote to go to Singapore to cry tears with Lumumba, Kaunda, and Nyerere. You know, they were the 3 crying presidents to cry for Zimbabwe and South Africa to be free. He overthrew them. So I want to give you that story. And I want to leave it with you to think. The more we dilly-dally with corrupt guys who have stocked 1 billion shillings in the houses, a man like Kachagwa, the MP for Madeira, if you look at the companies, Ekata Diagnostics, Rapid Medical Supplies, Sky Top Agency, Jenny Enterprises, Wamunyonyo, Nyoro, Investments, Directors, himself, this, that. You know, it is here. The man was banking money. Almost every year, 1 billion. 1 billion. It is intact. This is going to be another Waluke. which is in office. Given all this, when you don't have even money for the young employment for the younger people, what can we do? In summary, in a nutshell, what can we do? Back to Miriam.
Very good question, Doctor. You've already posed the question, so perhaps let me pose it to, we start with Samson, and then we'll go to Daniel, and then Professor. So Samson, good question there. I don't know if you've heard the question that Doctor has asked. What else can we do in terms of fighting corruption outside of just crying and just talking and all that? Is there something else that can be done drastically to make sure we curb the scourge of corruption in the country? Samson. Okay.
Samson.
All right.
Samson seemed to have turned upside down.
All right, let him fix that. Daniel.
Yes, Miriam, I think I've been very categorical in the fight against corruption. First of all, we need to have some very watertight laws in regards to those ones who are found culpable in indulging in corruption. We need to make the repercussions of being found corrupt so dire that any public servant will have to think twice before they involve themselves into corruption. First of all, you have to make sure that they pay back whatever they've stolen from the public coffers, either twice, thrice, or whichever amount it is, but let them pay back first of all. Number two, we have to make it the prosecution and the prosecution of corruption cases quite very fast, so that we do away with this sluggish norm where corruption cases have been dragged over the years. And number three, we also need to make sure that anyone who holds any big public office needs to be vetted, so that we make sure that these are people who meet the integrity threshold, people who are above the bar, so that we don't get corrupt people into our system and later have ourselves to blame. So those are the stringent measures that the government come up with. And lastly, of course, to fight corruption, the government does not do it in a solitary way. It needs the goodwill of the people. So we as a people also need to take our part in the fight against corruption. We need to support the government. We need to help in whistleblowing and bringing these corruption cases into the limelight. That is the only way we're going to win this fight. And also, we do not have to put a political angle or an ethnic angle on every corruption case, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much. And just so you know, Daniel, this new amendment bill that is already in Parliament seeks to address one of the concerns that you mentioned there. Now, the EACC, should this bill pass through, will be given the power to go back and look at the background information. So if you're a public officer and you've been appointed at a certain position, you're supposed to give all your personal details, including your wealth and all that declaration. So EACC will go back again and counter check. So if should you be found that you lied, then you shall be held liable. So the government already is thinking of ways to address that matter. But thank you so much. I don't know if Samson is back before I get to Professor Onyari. Is
he not back? Let's
all
get
right.
to Mombasa.
Yes, Mombasa, yes, and then we go to Professor.
Okay, we need to make those who are caught in these issues, just as we were looking an example. You know, there's the way you can handle a case that will scare the other person. The way you can handle it. So we should just take it serious. I mean, people should be scared of even asking for gifts in this office. So we should make a good example of these people that we are dealing with their issues right now. And then, like I talked of this before, I mentioned about people should have this system. The government should set this system so that all of the covered. Because if you're not careful, it will end up the way the other one ended. Like we're recovering, but still just disappeared. So the government should do something about it to prevent the reoccurrence of these situations, so people keep on feeling and feeling.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. All right.
You have heard it, Miriam, and the panel. Did you hear what she said?
Not quite clearly from my side.
She said, time has come when we should actually change the law to take back the people who have stolen. There's no more shortcuts. If you have stolen, you are taken, charged quickly. She agrees with the charging quickly. Isn't it so?
All right.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Well, maybe you are very near the water now. When you speak louder.
All right. Thank you so much, Karen from Mombasa. Professor Nyari, I know you have a problem with the timeline because initially these cases could go on like forever, but in the new amendment bill, it proposes that they should take maximum 2 years, and you're saying that 2 years is still too long, so you're saying 6 months. But owing to the volume of evidence and investigations that has to go through it, because a lot of these, corruption cases are quite intricate. They're not as simple. Investigators have even to travel out of the country and things like that. So it's quite a lot, especially for the big fish there. So you're proposing 6 months. Do you think this will be really practical? Because we need a watertight. If they don't have enough time to investigate, they bring a case in court which does not have all the required material. Then the case will just die on arrival there.
The other time when we were discussing this, we said that the CEO of a country is the president. He has been elected by the people of a country. In Kenya, we have elected our president. He is entitled to know what is happening in the three arms of the government. Sometimes we say that the three arms of the government are independent. Yes, we are independent but interdependent. Why am I making this serious point? We have had people being arrested, taken to court, and the case takes all the years. And you can see the number, the type of lawyers who can come, very sophisticated, very good lawyers. So what we need to do? Corruption is a cancer. Dr. Masanga has just read to us, and I do not see any expression in you. Someone banking 1 billion in a year to his account. The source of those money, and I'm not far from the truth, it is either embezzled, it is either through money laundering, or it is through drugs. So what we need to do, laws, is what can make us fight corruption, but there must be political goodwill. I'm continuing to hammer this point now and again. You have had Dr. Masanga being annoyed. Someone takes a letterhead of an institution,
judiciary,
even before we charge you in court. That is lead to summary dismissal. So what we need to do here is that the laws, you can make them, yes. Until the other day, the magistrate decided to send Waruka to jail. Did you know that there was such a good law? Until was it Rangat, is it Kirui, and the rate Kakuo was sent to commit. Did you know there was that kind of good laws? So laws will be there if we don't have the political goodwill. If we don't have institutions to fight. You see, like the way the director for prosecution, the director for criminal investigation, the director for EACC, they have been working. But you see how corruption now is coming in to divide them. So what we need to do, we should come forward. We can put timelines, but it is very important when you fight grand corruption, you must have political goodwill.
All right.
Okay.
You think a president leaving his finance permanent minister for treasury and his permanent and his principal secretary to be charged, that is a clear big statement
That is the
to the judiciary that the president is committed towards fighting corruption. And even the Chief Justice is very honest. He should be calling on administration of justice. He must know this important case. He's in court. What is the judge doing? What he should be have periodic briefing. So that is the only way that we must support the president to live the rigors of fighting corruption. And we should be able to make where are Akina Umtatas, okay, Umtata. Where are we saying that the cases are taking too long? So we should not be hired mercenary to fight selective corruption. Corruption must be fought by all of us.
Absolutely.
And for heaven's sake, let us support President Uhuru Kenyatta to tackle this. Giving your ministers to be charged in court is not something is so he's committed. Am I committed? Are you committed?
All right, that's a very good question there, Professor Nyari. Thank you so much, Dr. Professor there, saying that President Uhuru Kenyatta is leading from the front there and is showing some good political will. Of course, our politicians have been, mixed about this war against corruption, but the political goodwill, is it enough in the country? Doctor, as we conclude, you can conclude for us.
Thank you very much, viewers and the panel. I want to bring in something different. Of course, the debate on the MP for Mathira will continue tomorrow because we can't finish it. But there is something that always bothers me in this fight against corruption. And that something is, where is the money banked? Have we convicted heavily the general managers of banks? Have we, and this is my suggestion, that as much as the DCI, DPP, EAC are fighting corruption, and as much as we have goodwill of the president, which is the political goodwill, let's also have an eye on banks.
Yes.
Let's hammer one bank manager with 600 years in jail. 600 years. Because a bank manager, to keep fake gold. Jermaine, have you seen what is happening in our country 143? Country 143. These are the things that bring us to 143. Place number 143. A bank manager accepts fake gold of Barclays Bank. You store it. You take the real money, give to this man on the basis that there is gold in your safe, which is clean. Where is that case? A man goes to Fika, drills a hole and steals 50 million. Where is that case? Bank managers and the banks should not just be fined. I want to laud the DPP for having secured some money from the banks. He finds some banks 300 million, 200 million. No, that's not enough. Let's fine them and lock them up. The man who is the best friend of President Obama, Clinton, Bush. You remember the man who failed the bank in the US?
Come on.
You remember that guy? He's gone. He was jailed. He's jailed for life. He's a great friend of the Bush, but he's in jail for having even accepted money to be banked, laundered money. So in a nutshell, my panel from Mombasa, Professor Nyari, Kisumu, I want to state that let's also take corruption fight near the banks. If a bank sees you with 1 billion which you are not drawing and it is coming there stagnant, why doesn't this bank report to the police? Why? It means the bank manager is a beneficiary, is an accessory. So let's also charge him. Take one bank manager, hammer him 67 years, Waluke style. The rest will fear. The rest will fear. And that's my suggestion from the legacy trend, that bank managers should also, who receive money, just as like lawyers who receive money from clients who have stolen it, should be taken charged the same way. So it all goes back, what we shall finalize tomorrow morning when we discuss the further corruption and find the way forward from my end of the legacy trade.
And Doctor, you brought in a very, very important component that perhaps sometimes we overlook in the fight against corruption there, and that is banks. And tomorrow, Doctor, in the spirit of looking at the corruption situation in Kenya, I think that perhaps during the legacy trend, we should look at the banking laws. What does it say, and how has banks been part of and aiding corruption in this country? So perhaps that is something that we should look at and review some of these laws and see what is it that can be done to ensure people don't just go on and bank money and that cannot be traced. So I think this is something we should look at tomorrow, if that will be okay during the legacy trend. Yes, the banking laws of this country. Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga. Thank you so much, Professor Nyari. Thank you, Daniel Wesonga, and thank you, Samson, who I think left the conversation early, but thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
And thank you, Mombasa. Don't forget.
Yes, and thank you, Karen, from Mombasa. Indeed. Thank you so much.
Karen Joseph in Mombasa.
Yes, thank her for me. Thank you so much, Karen. And thank you so much, our viewers, for your company. Let's meet here. I think the other side of the break, as we look at South Sudan. Can the world help South Sudan to sustain the peace? My name is Miriam Agutu. A very good afternoon to you.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.